Hey there, and welcome to Rayon's Basics tutorial series. If you need more information about Rayon, you can book a demo with our team using the link in the description. You can also create a free Rayon account and use the templates below to draw along with me as we go through this tutorial. Let's dive in. So in this tutorial, we're going to review how to add annotations to your drawing. This can be dimensions, text, leaders, tags. You're going to find all these in the bottom toolbar right here, and each one has, of course, its shortcut. We'll start with adding dimensions to your drawing. Let's zoom into our floor plan. And the first thing I want you to notice is that once you activate a command, you have a few states of the command here on the right. There is this once or loop state, which will apply to different commands you use in Rayon. If you want to use something again and again, you can activate the loop. If you want to use a command once, it's already the default. When it comes to dimensions, we have a single dimension and chain dimensions. So I'll select the chain dimensions and let's start adding them to this pavement. I'll select the first point and then the second point and place the dimension on my canvas. Let's do this a few times to this pavement blocks, and there you go. So you can already notice a few things about the dimensions in Rayon. These can be placed in different colors, fonts, sizes, arrowheads. And we can also see that we need to edit some properties, like maybe change their size, location to make them a bit more readable and comfortable. To edit your dimensions, you want to select them. And on the right, you're going to find where their styles can be edited. We have the text style. So this can be the text size, for example, and the text color. We have the font right here. And then we have the properties of the stroke. So the stroke thickness, which you can edit from here, and also the stroke color as well. Endings, you can change to arrows, dots as your preference, and some more options like adding a block instead of the text for dimensions for different use cases, and more. Other than that, you also have some properties. But before we get to those, I want to mention that when you create a style in Rayon, you can save it into your style library. There's also a tutorial about styles. But to show you how to do that, we're just going to save this style by clicking on the plus button. And let's call this dimension 1, for example. You can also set a specific unit to a dimension style. So normally your canvas will have a unit and precision level, for example, centimeters, 0.00 precision. If you want a specific dimension style to be different, so state meters, state inches have a different precision level, you can edit that from the 3 dots next to the text button. So if I click this here, this is the default of my canvas right now. It's meters, and this is a precision, and it includes a suffix. Let's say I'm maybe doing a mail worksheet or something else, and I want to show the centimeters and not meters, and then maybe even have, a higher precision level. I can do that here. Let's say I want to have no suffix, for example. So just keep this in mind, and this can be saved for your canvas and then individually for specific dimension styles. So let's save this. And in the end of the day, what actually happened is that I created a style for dimensions that joined multiple styles that I have on my canvas. And this is a very handy way to replace styles very fast and maintain consistency across your drawing. So this would not be appropriate for this place, but you get the point. All right, let's revert to dim 1, which was the one we just created right here. And now let's talk about the properties of the dimension. So I'll select these again. And you remember we discussed the annotation style right now. When we talk about the properties, here they are. We have our orientation. So you can change the orientation of your dimension. Offset, meaning where the dimension will sit in relation to its starting point. So for example, right now it's 0.5. We can change this to 0.2 or 0.7 or whichever you prefer. You can transform some of the dimension heads. And here's one that's very handy. You can change the scale, shear, rotation, and also the offset. So in many cases, when you have dimensions that are, for example, a bit cramped between other dimensions, you can select those. Let's do that right now. Go to the transform, and then maybe let's move them a bit. So I'll go to the y-axis and do 0.2 maybe. There you go. This can even afford to be just 0.1. So this gives the extra cleanliness and readability to your drawing dimensions. So that's about adding dimensions to your drawing. Now let's talk about adding leaders to your drawing. So I'll zoom into another area of the canvas, perhaps here. And usually you'd add leaders onto different places where you want to convey information. This can be about items that are installed in the space or other. Super simple. I'm going to select the leader, indicate, for example, that this is a fireplace. I'll start with the leader head, then set its point and tail, and I can edit its name right here. So let's call this built-in fireplace. So of course this can be edited as well. If I select it, I'll find its style right here. And also leaders can have different styles. So if I change this right now, I can change it to different styles that already exist on my canvas, for example. If I want to customize it, I'll detach the style. And now let's play around a bit. I can change the color of the text. I can change the color of the leader. Rayon will also help me use the last color I chose. So this is handy if you want to have matching colors. And also the arrowhead can be changed from here. Another option is to set a block instead of text. So if you click on your leader, you'll see here that instead of text, you can swap to block. You can summon a block from your block library by searching. Let's look for a tag block, for example, and I'll just grab this tag for now, select it. And sometimes the default tags in Rayon are kind of small, so I'm going to want to just resize it, as you can see here. I'll double click this to edit. Select the tag block and scale it. I'll also edit it to have its frame pop up out a bit. Maybe we also want to make it blue, like this tag. And now we can change the text. All right, so in case I have this tag in multiple places on my drawing, now whenever I edit this, the text, the size, the color, it will edit in batch. And that's what's nice about adding blocks in leader arrowheads. We also can just add floating text. So if we have a specific comment, for example, for this fireplace, we can add a text, place it here beneath or under or above our tag. Let's place that right here. And let's say the details in sheet 0.1, just for example. Again, we can edit the properties of this text as well. So maybe let's change this to 0.05 and add it here. If you prefer to use arrows and plain text like we just did here instead of leader head, so you can also add an arrow, by the way. So just to show you how that would work, zoom out a bit, grab the arrow from the bottom toolbar right here. And let's also just use it for now to refer this. In this case, I might want to swap. I'll go to the right and swap the arrowheads. And the other thing you can do here is edit your arrow. So you'll have a midpoint and then you can arc it if you want and just change it around a bit. All right, we've arrived at the last type of annotation. So we talked about dimensions, leaders, arrows, text. Now let's talk about tags. So let's zoom into our section and talk about how to add tags and what tags are. So Rayon has an option to add metadata onto properties in your projects. This can be a square meter tag, tag for surfaces. It can be a tag to indicate brand of a furniture item, and more and more. So to add a tag, the first thing you have to have is a metadata entity tied to your object. Let's do an example together. I'm going to select this fireplace. And you'll see that any block item that I choose or surface can have metadata tags assigned from here at the bottom right. I already have some default tags for this fireplace. The brand, in this case, it's generic, category. I can edit this. So let's call this, fire factory, for example. And you can also create custom properties or add new ones. So I'll add a property here. We have some Rayon default ones, and let's add a material property. I'll click on the plus tag. Let's call this the material, and it will be a text value. You can also work with different values here. I recommend watching our tutorial about tables to learn more. And let's add this property right now. And this material will be steel, for example. Now that I have these properties tied to this element, I can add a tag that will summon these this information. So to add a tag, I'll go to the bottom toolbar. Let's select the tag, and then I'll select a path to associate it with. In this case, I'm selecting the fireplace. My tag can either be free-form text, or I can summon this variable. So adding a variable and then selecting which one to add. In this case, I want to click on the tag, and you'll see here those properties that I've added, the material, the brand. Let's add them both here as variables. And we might want to do a small gap or enter. So I'm going to double click this and just there you go. So this is a fast way to add information in batch to my elements on the drawing. For example, if I have a tag tied to this fireplace across my different drawing sheets and I decide to change any information about it, I'll just have to go once to the metadata properties, change that information, and this will appear in all the tags in batch. So that's a very nice option. I just want to show another example. A really handy one has to do with square meter count. So for example, if I have a surface and I want to know the square meter count, let's maybe delete for now this shower curtain and add a tag to this surface rather than just a block. I'll go down here again, use the tag or the shortcut. And in this case, I want to tie it to this surface. And I'll summon a default metadata property that we have for surfaces, which is their area. So you can see here that this is 0.49 square meter count. And this is really handy if I want to indicate the amount of material and such. And as I mentioned, this can also be organized later on in tables and just a really fast way to manage your data. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, so I think we have reviewed all the different ways to use annotations in Rayon. Just giving you a brief overview to, of course, let you know you can use all this to create tables as well, edit your block titles, and more and more. So I hope this was useful. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have any more questions, you're welcome to book a demo with our team by using the link in the description. You can also join our community and, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos like this. Have a good one.